Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed bin Munir. I have been a debater since the past 5 years and a term master since the past 4 years now. I have tapped at more than 20 tournaments. The purpose of this video is going to be introduction to TabbyCat and the basic things a tab master needs to know while jumping on um, into handling tabulations at a tournament. Let me just screen share in order to give you an idea or an overlook of how TabbyCat page looks once you log in. Um, Now, basically, this is how the interface actually looks like. Um, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. ये tournament बना हुआ है, which means कि I have already created this tournament, so I cannot unfortunately tell you how to create a new tournament right now, but it's really simple. On the main site area, there will be a place where you will be allowed to add a new tournament. I'll show that page to you guys later. But for now, the basic things that you need to know about a tournament are as follows. On top, you can see that there's a name for the tournament. It's called DT26, which is Demo Tournament 26. The first thing that you need to do once you make a tournament is data entry, which means you need to add the number of participants, teams, institutions, adjudicators, and rooms to a tournament. In order to do that, you need to go to setup, import data. From here, there are four options in front of you. Uh, Add institutions, add teams, add adjudicators, and add rooms. If you need to add an institution, this is the way to do it. You write down the name of the institution, let's say Debating Society of Pakistan, and you put a comma and then add the short form of that name, which will be DSP. Next step, and here you can see name, code, and you will save that institution. Now, once you save that institution, you'll go to add teams. Over here, all the institutions that you have added to the site will be seen. So you do not need to add institutions for each tournament on a site. So for example, इस साइट के ऊपर जो पहला tournament है, that is TSDC. So all the institutions that were added at TSDC will still be present for a new tournament. If you need to add a new institution, you can use this feature in order to add a new one. Right over here, you have teams that you can load. So I've already added two teams for debating side of Munir. If I want to add two teams for debating side of Pakistan, I'm just gonna add two. And next step, over here, I can simply add the speaker names. The name excluding institution name means कि आपने अगर अपनी टीम का कोई और नाम आगे डालना है तो वो आप यहाँ पे डाल सकते हैं. The norm is to add A in front of your code, which will be DSPA. इधर आप emails डाल देंगे. The emails are used for you to email URLs to the speakers. And similarly over here B and either speakers A नाम आ जाएंगे और इधर emails. Then I'm gonna save the teams. Now once I do this, I can check if the teams have been added from this participants area. And यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं DSPA, DSPB और DSMA, DSMB, all the teams have been added, right? Similarly, अगर मैंने adjudicators डालने हैं तो मैं यहाँ से जाऊँगा, adjudicators की institution select करूँगा, institution DSP कहाँ गया? Okay, DSP. I can simply add an adjudicator. यहाँ पे उनकी रेटिंग आ जाएगी, यहाँ पे उनकी email आ जाएगी, and I'm going to just save it. And as you can see, adjudicator has been added. His institution is TSP, right? Similarly, if I need to add rooms, this is a minor difference. For rooms, the format is that you write room, you write the room number 01 and you do the priority, right? So priority has to be same for each room. Sorry. अभी मैंने तीन rooms डाले हुए हैं, so I'll start with 4 and 100 and then room 5 and 100. Now remember, you have to add 0 before 5 हमेशा. If you don't do that, the priority will get messed up. Next step, rooms, save rooms. अब ये rooms यहाँ पे आ जाएंगे. Once I move to generating the draw, I'll show that to you guys. उसके बाद another thing that you need to focus on is the configuration that needs to be adjusted before the tournament. इसके अंदर there are multiple settings that you need to take a look at. First of all, score rules. यहाँ पे there are different things such as the minimum speaker score and maximum speaker score for a normal speech and for the replies. And then you have the option for adding a speaker step of 0.5, 70.5 अगर किसी ने देना हो 69.5 etc. बिकॉज हर टूर्नामेंट के ऊपर 0.5 नहीं इनेबल होते. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे मार्जिन इंक्लूड्स डाइसेंटर्स का एक ऑप्शन है जिसके अंदर द एवरेज विनिंग मार्जिन विल आल्सो इंक्लूड द मार्जिन ऑफ समवन हु डाइसेंट्स. दिस हैज़ टू बी डन बिकॉज उसके बगैर मार्जिन कैन गेट मेस्ड अप. सो ये सारे ऑप्शंस आपके सामने होंगे. द नेक्स्ट इज हाउ द ड्रॉज आर मेड. इसके अंदर द थिंग्स दैट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर एंड एक्चुअली फिक्स आर के मिनिमम इंडिकेटर स्कोरिंग का जो वोट है वो नॉर्मली 5 होना चाहिए. It's not a hard and fast rule, but at least for the local circuit and for the DSP, it's 5. Similarly, यहाँ पे कुछ चीज़ें आपको मिलेंगी relevant, such as avoiding same institution. This is a setting that you mostly use in a prepared round, ताकि एक ही institution की teams का आपस में मैच ना पड़े. The another setting is avoiding team history के एक ही टीम का अगर पहले राउंड में मैच पड़ा है तो क्या they can face each other again in the tournament. This is something which is followed more on a smaller tournament ताकि बार बार मैचेस ना पड़े और ज़्यादा डिफरेंट टीम्स के अगेंस्ट मैचेस पड़े. देन द पेयरिंग मेथड के किस तरह से ड्रॉ बनेगा और किस तरह से टीम्स विल फेस ईच अदर. दिस द नॉर्म इन द लोकल सर्किट इज फोल्ड. So what happens is that the team in a bracket that is at top is going to face the team that is the lowest ranked within that bracket. So if a team is on top with 2 wins, it's going to meet the team that is on the bottom of the 2 win bracket. So ये setting यहाँ से होती है. The pull up restriction is again के teams किस तरह से pull up हो रही हैं. um, so the preferred setting is कि जो टीम सबसे कम पुल अप हुई हो आप उसे दोबारा पुल अप करवाएं. The other settings are related to BP, so you don't really need to have a look at that right now. Similarly, standings के अंदर there are 6 सेटिंग्स. पहली ये कि आप कितनी रिप्लाईज और नॉर्मल स्पीचेस अलाउ करते हो मिस करना, वो यहाँ से सेट होता है इन ऑर्डर फॉर अ स्पीकर टू रैंक. फॉर अ 4 prelim tournament it's 1 speech and 1 reply that a speaker can miss in order to rank. For a 6 prelim tournament it's 2 speeches that a speaker can miss. टीम स्टैंडिंग प्रेसिडेंस चेक करना इज़ रियली इम्पॉर्टेंट ताकि ब्रेक्स के अंदर कोई मसला ना हो. Over here, the settings normally depends on what scale of tournament is happening, but the norm over here is that wins go first, average total speakers go second, and the margin goes third. And the reason for that is simple कि बाकी के metrics जो हैं they are very they cannot be as objective as these ones. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम वोट्स या बैलेट्स कैरी करें तो हर राउंड में इक्वल नंबर ऑफ जजेस नहीं जा सकते एट आर टूर्नामेंट्स. तो इसलिए हम वो सेटिंग नहीं सेलेक्ट करते. फॉर स्पीकर स्टैंडिंग प्रेसिडेंस इट्स एवरेज स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन नंबर ऑफ स्पीचेस. द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज़ फीडबैक. यहाँ पे 2-3 चीज़ें हैं. पहली चीज़ ये कि मिनिमम स्कोर और मैक्सिमम कितना हो सकता है फॉर एजुडिकेटर, जो उसे फीडबैक पे मिल सके या कोई दे सके. एंड उसके बाद who can submit feedback on whom. So the norm is that panelists submit feedback on chairs and chairs on panelists and trainees. So that's over here. And then you also have the setting के teams किस पे feedback submit कर सकती हैं. And the norm for this is that the one who's giving the oral adjudication for the round is someone जिसके ऊपर आप feedback submit करते हैं. Over here you can just set up metrics etc कि वन इज़ द लोवेस्ट, टेन इज़ द हाईएस्ट एक्सेट्रा, जो भी मैसेज आप जो फीडबैक दे रहा है उसके लिए छोड़ना जाएगा। um, tab release is something that is used to release the tab. यहाँ पे सारी options हैं, different releasing everything after the tournament is done, वो सब यहाँ से figure out कर सकते हैं आप। Similarly data entry के अंदर you just have to make sure कि जो ballot submissions from adjudicators हों वो private URL से हो, और feedback जो हो वो भी private URL से हो। Participant self check-in etc is something that depends if a tournament is using or not, ताकि लोग अपने आप को check in कर लें और roll calls वगैरह avoid कर लें। Individual voting ballots need to be enabled ताकि people have their own ballot to submit और consensus ballot ना हो। Public features के अंदर छोटी मोटी चीज़ें such as whatever you want the public to see while the tournament is going on, such as participant list, ताकि लोग clashes डाल सकें देख के tournament शुरू होने से पहले, break categories वगैरह, public view of results, team standings, public view of team standings etc, public view of motions, और ये सारी चीज़ें। So this is for most for the configuration part. The next thing is private URLs. Private URLs are extremely important at the tournament for two reasons. A, इसके through feedback submit होता है और पता चलता है कि judges किस तरह का कर रहे हैं, and how we can maintain the adjudication quality. And for adjudicators, it's important for both feedback and submitting their ballots. In order to email the URLs, you just go to private URLs, then you move to email URLs, and यहाँ से and just remember, it's extremely important while you're doing the data entry, you add the right email addresses ताकि आप आराम से सबको यहाँ से सेंड मैसेज पे क्लिक करके यूआरएल ईमेल कर सके। उसके बाद प्राइवेट यूआरएल्स कवर्ड, यहाँ से यू कैन जस्ट हैव अ ओवरव्यू ऑफ किसने कितना फीडबैक सबमिट किया है और क्या फीडबैक आ रहा है एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, ताकि आप लोकेट कर सकें कि किस टीम के फीडबैक जो सबमिट नहीं हुए। यहाँ से यू कैन हैव अ व्यू ऑफ टीम स्पीकर्स, रिप्लाईज, मोशन बैलेंस, ऑल दी स्टैंडिंग्स। Now the second last thing over here is generating a draw for a round, right? So in order to generate a draw, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the round, you're going to click on availability, and you're going to go to teams, mark the teams available जो present हो. Then you're going to go to the adjudicators and mark the adjudicators जो available हो. Then you're going to go to the rooms and mark the rooms available. Right after that, you're just going to simply click on generate draw और आपके सामने matches आ जाएंगे। Right, so यहाँ पे आपके सामने simply matches आ चुके हैं। And you have information such as proposition की prop पे like rank क्या है टैब में, और सब रैंक क्या है, कितनी नंबर ऑफ विंस है प्रॉप की, स्पीकर स्कोर्स क्या है, ये सारी डिटेल आपके पास आ जाएगी। फ्रॉम हियर यू कैन जस्ट सिंपली कंफर्म द ड्रॉ। Now, normally allocations are done after the teams are sent to the room. So, आप simply जाके you can release the draw. You can also enter the motion from here, whatever the motion for the round is, right? And you can then send the teams to the rooms. And then before you do the allocations, unrelease the draw to public, go back, allocate adjudicators. Yeah, so you can simply pick adjudicators. You can either auto allocate them, जब आप उन्हें auto allocate करेंगे तो वो खुद ही allocate हो जाएंगे in accordance to like whatever the tab seems fit for different rooms, depending on different metrics such as the bracket, such as the liveness of the matches, clashes, वो सारी चीज़ें tab खुद figure out कर लेगा, and then you can just take a quick look or a sanity check over the allocations. Over here you can see कि ये red marks हैं, ये इसलिए क्योंकि ये clashed out है इन rooms के अंदर, but for the purpose of this let's just assume they are not clashed out, right? यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं the conflicts are also pointed out, so it's telling us that DSP B is a pull-up team, and it's also telling that Ali Hanan and DSP B have a conflict via DSP because Ali Hanan is the adjudicator of DSP. So ये सारी चीज़ें आपको यहाँ से पता चल जाएगी। After that you just release the draw टू पब्लिक। इधर से आप मोशन भी रख सकते हैं। यहाँ से आप मोशन डाल के सिंपली यू जस्ट सेव द मोशन, रिलीज मोशन टू द पब्लिक, और ये मोशन रिलीज हो गया। अब आफ्टर दिस यू come towards entering the ballots. Now the ballots can simply be added online through the private URL by the adjudicator. Let me just show you guys how that's done. So if this is the URL, यहाँ पे सबमिट बैलेट की ऑप्शन आ जाएगी। यहाँ मैं स्पीकर ऐड कर दूंगा। यहाँ पे भी ये अब असद खान इज सबमिटिंग, सॉरी असद खान ही है। Yeah, I think so. So जो भी इस रूम का जज होगा, he is the one who submitting the ballot. As soon as they submit the ballot, वो ballot यहाँ पे आ जाएगा, चलेगा ना? Right. In order to confirm this ballot, it's gonna take a look कि अच्छा सब ठीक है, and then you're gonna click on confirmed as the ballot status, and then confirm the debate status as well, and save ballot. Once you do that, this round is done. There's no longer a cross at the status of the debate, right? So this, so not this round, this room is done. Similarly, अगर मैंने manually add करना हो ballot, so वो भी मैं कर सकता हूँ। ओके, तो अगेन आयरन मैन पॉलिसी यहाँ पे हमने नहीं लगाई हुई, तो इसलिए टेस्ट। सो यहाँ अब दोनों बैलेट्स एडिट हो गए। आई कैन सिंपली गो ऑन एंड कंप्लीट द राउंड। तो मेरा राउंड कंप्लीट हो गया, मैं अगले राउंड की तरफ आ गया हूँ। अगेन आई हैव टू रिपीट द सेम ड्रिल। टीम्स मार्क करना, एजुकेटेड मार्क करना, रूम मार्क करना, एंड ड्रॉ जनरेट करना। सो दैट्स प्रीटी मच इट विद जनरेटिंग द राउंड्स। विद ब्रेक्स यू सिंपली गो टू ओवरव्यू, एंड यहाँ से जाके आप 4 राउंड्स के बाद, 6 राउंड्स के बाद ब्रेक्स जनरेट कर सकते हैं, एंड यू कैन जस्ट टेक अ चेक ऑन कोई चीज़ गलत तो नहीं लग रही है आपको बिफोर अनाउंसिंग देम। The last thing that I want to discuss, the second, बल्कि the second last thing is हमने टीम ऐड करना सीख लिया, हमने एजुकेटर्स ऐड करना सीख लिया है, बट ये सारी नए, like this is new data that we are loading. If you want to bring in change into the existing data, there's a separate way to do it. You're going to go to the database of the site. अब इस database में you'll have all the information that has been collected at the site, not only for the tournament but for the site. So if there are pre-existing tournaments at the site, all the information will be over here, right? Now if I want to make a change over here, how am I going to do that? I'm going to find my required option. So अगर मैंने participants में कुछ change करना है, I'll go to teams. अब ये सारी साइट की टीम्स आ रही हैं, सो ऑल द टूर्नामेंट्स दैट हैव बीन डन ऑन दिस साइट, उसकी सारी टीम्स आ रही हैं। बट आई डोंट वांट दैट, आई वांट टू मेक चेंज टू द DT26 टूर्नामेंट। यहाँ पे सिर्फ इस टूर्नामेंट की टीम्स आ गई। नाउ आई कैन गो टू द टीम, then speakers, and I can just simply add someone else, right? I'll save it, and hopefully स्पीकर ऐड हो गया होगा। या एज यू कैन सी DSPA में एक चौथा स्पीकर ऐड हो चुका है, राइट? सो दिस साइट इज क्रूशली इंपॉर्टेंट, दिस डेटाबेस इज क्रूशली इंपॉर्टेंट इन ऑर्डर टू ब्रिंग एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ चेंजेस एक्सेट्रा। यहाँ पे और भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस हैं दैट वंस यू एक्सप्लोर यू गेट फेमिलियर विद, राइट? सो फॉर एग्जांपल यूजर्स बनाना, एंड एडजुडिकेटर्स के अंदर कोई चेंजेस करना, speaker categories में कोई changes करना, there's so many things that you can change from here. Just have to take a good look at it in order to do that. The last thing I want to discuss is how to add clashes. So there are two ways to go about it, and this is also relevant to adding data through both ways. अगर मैंने एक नया क्लैश डालना है, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to import data, and you can see over here I have add conflicts. So if I want to add adjudicator team conflict, adjudicator with adjudicator conflict, or institution या team institution conflict, so सारी चीज़ें मैं यहाँ से डाल सकता हूँ. अगर मैंने adjudicator का clash डालना है, I'll simply click on the adjudicator and I'll add a clash, right? And यहाँ से जाकर मैं इसे save कर दूंगा and the clash will be added. But if I want to do it in a different manner, या फिर let's suppose यहाँ से मैं डाल दूँ and I want to change it later, the way to do that is इसे save कर लेते हैं. I go to the database. यहाँ से I find in adjudicator team conflicts. Over here, अब ये again सारे tournaments के conflicts आ रहे हैं. But this is the one that I just added, right? So ये वाला जो clash है, ये अगर मैंने delete करना हो, मैं यहाँ से कर सकता हूँ by deleting it. Now it has been deleted and it won't be a clash any longer, right? So these are the basic things that a tab master should know. Some advice from my side would be twofold. If you're starting off as a tab master, don't take the risk of being the only tab master at the tournament. Always try to, ask people around you who are tabbing if they need any help and you're willing to learn. You can just ask them to be a junior tab master. That is one safe way for you to have someone to overlook you once you, join the club of tabbing. Another thing to remember is that um, the main, but this all doesn't really look very hard, right? The only problem with this is when data is in large amounts to handle, and there's a lot of pressure on you because there will be so many teams, adjudicators, उनके आपस में clashes, speakers change हो रहे हैं, allocations के अंदर issues हो रहे हैं. There are so many things as a tab master that you need to look after. So you need to be very calm. You need to have a lot of, um, चेक ऑन योर नर्व्स, ताकि आप ये सारी चीज़ें और सारे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स, क्लैशेस, क्राइसिस मैनेज कर सकें. एंड लास्टली, द लास्ट एडवाइस वुड जस्ट बी, इफ़ you're टैबिंग एट a tournament, it's severely important for you to start early. Do not leave things for the last day. एक दिन में टैब बन जाता है, एक घंटे में टैब बन जाता है, but there will be a lot of issues that you'll be missing out on. The safe timeline for you to start tab work is at least 1 week before the tournament starts, because that gives you a lot of time in order to recheck and reassure everything is done correctly. सारे क्लैशेस ऐड हो चुके हैं, स्पीकर नेम्स चेंज हो चुके हैं, या फिर जो भी चीज़ें हैं, स्कोर सही ऐड हुए हैं कि नहीं जजेस के. All those things can only be done if there is ample amount of time for you to look after everything on the tab, right? So that's all from my side. If you guys have any questions, always free to reach out. And if you would like to work as a junior tab master, that opportunity is always open for you. If you ever see me tabbing at a tournament, just approach me, and I'll make sure you work as a junior tab master with me. Thank you so much. Take care.